You guys already know Splash and the Roblox Doors developers have stated that they will be releasing a full-length teaser trailer for the major Floor 2 update that was projected to be coming out relatively soon. And now, they have finally released the trailer in all of its glory. It's time to do some major investigating for secrets and leaks in this one. So make sure you like and subscribe if you're excited, and let's roll the tape. And a lot we do as we first begin to break down the first frames of the trailer. Not only are we greeted with a new door skin labeled 113, but Redible starts walking through the room, which does reveal this glowing orb on the floor of the room. This does look like the same glowing lantern stick that was shown back at the 4 billion visits leak nearly a year ago. We can also notice a chest being hidden by the corner, which may just as well be a reskin of the chests and drawers that we currently use. Bits of stone and bricks can be seen broken on the floor as well, which does indicate danger lurking deep within the mines. Going into the next room, we can also notice that parts of the mines will be filled with water, which adds quite a bit to the atmosphere of the game, which was then followed by the entity rush, which I'm sure you all know at this point. But the next part of the trailer was interesting. We can see just a bacon here swimming around in a blue void with the moon shaped as a crescent. This appears to be some sort of a void being controlled by the guiding light, as you can see the entity's iconic blue shaped star effect around the room. Maybe this could be used as a new game over screen, which could replace the old generic one. Continuing on, we do get an even more in-depth look of the mines, confirming that there will be 2 tiers at least some of the rooms, requiring players to climb up the ladders to reach higher altitudes. In this frame, you can also see Redibles holding the light lantern stick that we've mentioned, although it doesn't appear to be turned on. Though in the next scene, you can see yet another light stick, this time deeper into the mines and glowing in a lightly red color. We'll explain more about these lanterns later, but what's shocking is that there will be apparently 2 paths to choose from at the same point during the journey. You can see that Redibles is walking up to an opening showcasing a well-lit metal room, but also pointing the flashlight into a deeper, more darker path. We may have to choose wisely here, as the wrong path could provide a consequence for the players, though we can see the head of one of the testers behind this rock, so it seems possible players can explore this room if they so wish to. Upon even deeper examination, we can notice behind the guardrail a big pile of that strange substance sitting in the corner, which could be related to the piles that we've seen throughout the game, especially after the Hotel Plus update. Continuing on to the next scene, it's a bit hard to see, but something actually falls onto Redibles as they have their character model's arm in the air in surprise. We can just make it out to be the model of a strange leech looking thing, which actually doesn't look like Screech at all. If we do a comparison, the model entity has a much lighter color and slightly different shape compared to Screech, though this may just be an unfinished model at the time being. Moving further along, this part of the trailer seems very strange as Redible seems to summon something as a glowing aura begins to fill the room and ultimately disintegrates them into many pieces. But if you actually take a look closer, right before Redibles explodes, you can notice that he tried to use his flashlight. Maybe with the environment having so much gas from cave geysers such as this one, any electrical spark such as the flashlight will cause the player to explode. So I guess no flashlights in this part of the cave. Further along, it's actually confirmed that we will be able to ride a minecart within Roblox Doors, as this is actual footage of Splash riding onto the mine trails through the caves. The minecart will be equipped with a headlight powered by a pair of jump-in cables, but it's still unclear whether or not this ride will be an interactable ride side, hidden with button presses and prompts and whatnot, though towards the end, L-Splash does end up ducking their head due to the ceiling drop, so perhaps pressing a designated button would be needed through this part of the cutscene. We can also see a new version of eyes teleporting around as we've previously seen in the teaser trailer, but we do get an even deeper look at the new fly entities swarming around, which is also accompanied by a room filled with a blue effect. Perhaps this blue effect would be shown in the room, which shows that Eyes is able to teleport into these areas as a heads up for players, but what's also strange is that some of the rock models are projecting a light onto the locker on the right, but maybe there may be a glow stick on the other side. It's pretty difficult to tell from this specific angle. But the Doors Wiki does state that these may be something called moss eggs, which could act similarly to the snare entity. The next scene does show L-Splash hiding from Rush, but if we pause, we can see that Rush has been upgraded as their sprite animation does look slightly different than what it currently does. Perhaps the entity has received a buff in this update, but the next part will surprise you. Of course, we do have more puzzles and code machines to crack down, but what the heck is this abomination lurking next to the code machine? It looks like a disformed pile of Screech and Seek mashed together into a pile of goop, which does look relatively disturbing. Players will then need to find missing power bulbs in order to power up an old generator. But while being jump scared by Screech, we did get an updated look of the sneak peek room that was shown months ago. More items are being dropped on the floor, presumably caused by Screech, such as the lighter, the flashlight, the light stick, and also another light stick which is not lit up. But what's strange is the sudden purple flash that was shown once Redibles gets up. Might have been Eyes teleporting around, who knows at this point. The next scene then shows yet another flooded room requiring players to wad around, but also the new fly entities presumably swarming Redibles as he falls onto the floor, filled with these strange models of crystallized bumps on their avatar. Again, they also drop items upon death. Moving deeper into the mines, there is a barricaded fence with the figure jumping from above, which is interesting as it seems the entity is still alive and wasn't dead from the previous ending. The January 2025 title does show more background footage of the mines with more piles of those weird Screech gloop around, but right before Glitch changes the title, we do get a really good look at a new scene within the mines showcasing two giant metal doors. This may be in part of the minecart ride cutscene, but that's just a guess. As for the entity cutscene, this one caught me by surprise, but a giant worm tentacle does show up slamming onto the ground, but pausing it right here can reveal big teeth of a supposed monster lurking deep within the mines. Now this makes a lot of sense. The piles of Screech goop all around, the tentacle leaks that we've seen before, and some of the leaked models that the developers have been creating. It does seem that this entity may be Screechworm, which is a giant version of a Screech head with big tentacles crawling around. What do you guys think? Smash like and subscribe if you're excited, and take care.